Hola.
Hi.
Bienvenidas a Super Mamás.
Super Mamás.
This is Paulina.
And this is Bricia.
Okay, ladies, so we've heard you out.
And we are going to tackle a very important subject that all of you guys have been asking for, keeping our children bilingual.
It's such a struggle.
I
every
know.
single
And
day.
we're so lucky that Rebecca Bernard, the founder of World City Center, where the preschool where Krista, my niece, my sister's daughter, in case you guys don't know, where she goes. So she's going to come and talk to us about that. And what else are we going to talk about? Oh, my sister's obsession with Disneyland.
Who isn't obsessed with Disneyland?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, ladies. I hope you guys enjoy the show.
Okay, listas?
Here we go. Why do I always press recording, not record?
Hello.
Again.
For the fifth time.
Hi, ladies.
My mouth's not too close to the microphone. I'm too far from the microphone.
We're not
Jesus.
pressing record. We promise we'll get better. How are you, Paulina?
I'm good. I'm tired. I'm exhausted, but I'm good.
Can you please tell everybody why you're exhausted today?
Because I went to my favorite place in the world.
You're so obsessed.
I know I am.
You go there so much.
I do. I like it. I don't know.
I don't know who likes it more. You or Krista on the. Okay, we're talking about Disneyland in case you guys don't know or don't follow us on Instagram. My sister went to Disney yesterday, and it's the funniest thing because for a while her daughter didn't like Disney. And it was great. Like, okay, perfect. Like, you don't have to go.
Who?
Well, I guess no. Whatever.
To you.
Well, I'm just saying you don't have to spend money, go to Disneyland, the whole thing. And, like, you forced her to like Disney.
I didn't really force her.
You totally
I didn't force her. I just took her and she liked it. She liked it.
She didn't like it for a while.
No, she
Don't
didn't.
lie.
Well, anyway, she likes
when
it
Mom
now.
comes to the show, I'm going to ask her. She can be like, sí, cierto. A Cristian no le gustaba y Paulina se lo metió.
But mom was the one that was like, oh, ya quisiera que ella pueda llevarla a Disney. Mom is a Disney lover. Like, I think it's a thing that I got from Mom.
I think maybe I'm the person that doesn't like Disney in the family.
Because Tita, our sister, for a while there, she wanted to work in Disneyland because she loved it so much.
She still wants to work at Disney.
Yeah, she does. I really, after yesterday, I realized that I don't like Disneyland as much. I would rather go to Disney California Adventure. Like, that's the place that this is the way I see it. Okay?
Go. Come on. Drop your Disney knowledge on us right now.
Well, there's like, for me, I'm like, what's the place that I can go and have that I actually enjoy, that me myself, I'm actually enjoy something that I enjoy to do with my daughter. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
And that's a place where I enjoy going with her. I go there for the food.
What?
I already know what I want to eat. Like, I don't even
drink. You just like California Adventure because there's beer.
No, yeah, I kind of yeah, that's the truth too. They have beer. They have really good beer. They have craft beer. Okay, but I love the food there. Like, I love the corn dogs, and I love like the chili con carne. That they, like, it's just such bad food, but I love it. We already know what we get when we go. And my husband, she hates it every time he's like, I'm like, baby, I even tell Krista now, tell your daddy we want to go to Disneyland. He's like, Daddy, I want to go to Disneyland. And he's like, no. And she's like, Mommy, he said no. I'm like, don't tell me. Play it off, girl. But yeah, Disneyland, I don't know. I don't have that much fun.
I
love
you already know my thoughts on that.
Yeah, someday you'll take your kid there.
I'm sure I will.
Yeah, and
we'll see when that happens.
You know what?
But
now,
how did it go yesterday?
It was fun.
You went with your best friend?
I went with my best friend, Jackie, her daughter, Melinda, who's my goddaughter, and our friend, her sister-in-law, a friend of mine, Becky, and her daughter Mary Jane.
Oh, so 6 of you guys?
Yeah, the 6 of us.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it was fun for the girls. Like, Krista had this on the calendar for like a month.
Oh.
You know, and she was like, Mami, ¿qué día vamos a ir a Disneyland?
Not only Krista, you had it on your calendar too.
Yeah, I had
Disneyland with question marks.
No, Fernando added the question marks. I was like, there is no question marks on that day. We are going to Disneyland. But we figured, like, you know, kids are back to school. They just take their daughters now. There's not going to be enough people. Yeah. It was so crowded, but it was fun. It was just fun to see the girls interact because they love it. Melinda and Mary Jane are total princesses. Like, they love the princess and they love the stuff. And my daughter likes the princesses. She does, you know, she loves the skirts and the tutus and all of that. But she's a space woman, like, you know, and like a superhero. Like, they were getting excited about the castle. You know, the girls like, oh, you know, where's Tinkerbell? Krista turned around and was like, Mommy, there's a spaceship. I want to go in that spaceship. And we went. We passed by the store of the superheroes. And she was like, Mom, there is Thor. Oh, she calls him Dor. There's Dor, you know, Dor and Captain America and
she's just trying to get
Hulk.
at them. She's smart. She's like, I'm the only girl that's here. I'm about to get on those superheroes.
She loves that, you know, and she's the kind of girl that wears like Ninja Turtle tennis shoes.
Well,
and
you
a
were
tutu.
saying that you wish they made like Ninja Turtle tutus or Spider-Man tutus, right?
Yes.
Someone out there, hey ladies, if you guys know where we can get these for my sister,
Yes.
holla.
Yes. I think like it's so pink and blue out there. You know what I mean? It is.
And purple.
There's no black and white. It's pink and blue. And I think Target removed that already. Like, you know, they no longer have gender
Toys.
It's
Aisles.
just toys.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that, you know.
But it's like, okay, so they removed it, but still when you go to the toys, it's like pink and purple aisle. Like,
It's pink and
okay,
blue.
this is not for girls, but this whole aisle was pink and purple.
Yeah. I remember like one of the mommies from Krista's school told me that she had a birthday party for her kid there, and Krista was like, I don't want the frozen
Target?
bag. No, at the school.
Oh.
Krista was like, I don't want the frozen bag. I want the Ninja Turtles. And she was like, sorry, honey, I brought that for you. And I was like, yeah, that's not my daughter. But anyway, yeah, it was so much fun. It was fun. And now that she's tall enough to get on the like big rides, she has the time of her life. And I love seeing her get excited and scared at the same time because I'm a scary cat. I am, you know, I'm like, and I love seeing her there, like in those kind of situations that has no fear, you know, like, and just to see the different personalities. Melinda's very like super girly, like she sees some kind of like danger or like a steep, you know, thing, and she's like, oh no, I don't go there. And Chris is like, I'm going there. Like, I want to, like, you know, go up on this thing and jump off this thing and jump off and move. And it's so funny to see us three react differently to those kind of things. You know, I'm like, whatever, she can jump. And they're all like, get off there, you know. And I'm like, she likes that. You know, that's her. That's who she is. And it was fun to see that, you know, but at the same time, it's, how do you know, and they're my friends and we have a good communication, but I wonder, like, if I went with somebody else, how do you handle those kind of situations with the kids are super different and they're in the exact same, you know, moment.
Mm-hmm. It's just different parenting styles.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's how mom is with us. She was like, and she just wanted to have us like right there, like, no te muevas. Aquí te quedas. You know, she gave us that eye, you know, and that's one. And it's just, you know, our kids are always a reflection of who we are.
Yeah.
You know, you're
totally.
very like that. You're very like that. You're very like, And I don't know how I'm going to be. I have no idea how I'm going to be. No idea, because I haven't really been in a situation. But I do Windex everything around my house. Like, it's
yes,
like, don't touch my baby. So
you
maybe
do.
I'm going to be like that. I have no idea.
They were telling me, oh my God, I just washed her hands and she's already, I'm like, this is Disneyland. Everything's full of germs. Like, I'm not going to wash her hands like every 2 minutes.
I would be spraying like antibacterial.
You would.
All the time. Like, let me see. So I don't know. I have to wait until my kid gets older to figure out. My baby just took out a tooth.
You're probably gonna have like a bubble around him.
No, I'm not. So we'll see how it goes. My kid just did have his first tooth though, so that was pretty cool. I was like, you have a tooth. I recorded it. I think like only moms care about that. It's like, no
You
one's
know
gonna care
what?
that
You
my
know what?
tooth came
That's
out.
great because there was no pain.
I mean, he was a little fussy. I mean, he was like babeando a little bit. But not. I mean, as of right now, knock on anything. What he's doing really
No,
really
he's.
good.
I mean, he did one. It's fine. You know, he's gonna be fine. That's great.
I
Oh my
know
God.
he has a little tooth. I
He's
was like,
growing.
you have a tooth.
He's growing. My
Sorry,
baby's
boob.
growing.
Like you hadn't like suffered enough. Well, anyway, today we have a really good show for you ladies.
Yes.
We are going to talk about bilingual kids and how we can achieve that, because I think all of us, both listening and here in this room, which is my sister and I, really care about this. And we really want our kids to speak Spanish. So we're going to have my sister's friend Rebecca come in, who is the founder of the preschool where Krista goes. So you want to say something a little bit about Rebecca?
Oh my God, there's so much to say about her. I mean, this girl has a bachelor degree on world arts and culture. She has a master degree on communication from the USC school. She has worked for a lot of profit and nonprofit organizations. She created the bilingual preschool. She has a cultural bilingual camp for like kids of all ages.
And they go and they travel the world.
They travel the world.
It's crazy. Rebecca's going to be here in a little bit, you guys, and you guys are going to learn so much from her. So stay tuned. We have an amazing show.
Stay tuned, girls.
This week's sponsor is Waya Baby. They are a little Guayabera baby romper. Which
So cute.
I know, like how genius. And it's brought to you by the guys from Mexico Collective. Their website is mexico-collective.com. And they're offering you guys, all listeners, a 25% off discount on this cute little Guayabera romper. They have from like 6 months up to like 2 years. They're
Really?
the cutest little things ever. I mean, I can't wait till my baby can fit on its own.
Good
but
to know.
yes, so whenever you guys need a baby shower present or just a present for your friends, check out Waya Baby at mexico-collective.com. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Waya Baby.
Thank you, Waya Baby. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
We're back,
We are.
and we have a special guest,
Cubano.
Rebecca Bernard Aguiar, de Costa Rica. You're our first Costa Rican
Hey.
guest.
I know there aren't too many of us around. I feel like.
So Rebecca runs the preschool where my sister's baby goes.
Krista, where she goes, where she attends the bilingual school that I always talk about, with the immersion and the 90-10. I fall in love with and I love, and I was like, oh, she has to go because, you know, it's so hard to find something like that here, and a lot of people struggle with that, you know, with the Spanish and the English, and how do you keep your kid bilingual? So that's why I was like, she needs to go so she can give us some, you know, some tips and some information about the schools that are here or in the country, or, you know, just how
So
she
my
did it.
baby is 4 months. Is it true that because I hear all these like crazy stories, like you have to be in a wait list for like ever, and like immersion schools are just like the most coveted schools. It's like, is that true? Do I have to like put my baby in a waiting list for your school right now?
Yeah. Yeah. No, you know, I think I was a total procrastinator, like slacker mom. I was like, oh, my kid's going to be 2. What do I do? But there were people even showing up when we were founding the bilingual charter school, and like the first meeting, there were people there that were pregnant.
Yeah.
Like they were 4 months pregnant, and they were like,
WCC?
no, Click.
Oh yeah, Click. The kindergarten elementary where I want to send Krista. Remember I told you, my friend told me when Krista was about like a year.
Yeah.
And she was like, you need to get on the waiting list and you need to start working on the hours because, you know, so she can have a sure spot. We didn't make it, but I'm working my way there.
Yeah.
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 So
it's
I should
incredible.
start going over there?
Well, I mean, so I thought that like having the baby and being pregnant and like delivery, I thought that was going to be the hard part.
Oh my God.
But
that
like
scared me.
school school is like so stressful. School is the hardest thing. You think about it, like you're programming your child. You know what I'm saying? You're like, whatever they're getting at school is gonna influence who they become as a person in their life. Like delivery is like 5 seconds long. You know what I mean? But school is like their whole life.
Wait. So was it like a couple of days ago? I was driving to work and I passed this high school. Lincoln High.
Oh yeah, you told me.
And I was driving through, and it was a stop sign, and I freaked out. I mean, like I freaked out, thinking like one day I'm gonna drop off my kid in high school, and I'm gonna have no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like for like the majority of the time of the day, I'm like, no. And I freaked out, and my baby's 4 months. And he's like, my sister's like, can you imagine when you drop him off at like pre-K, what you're going to be
Yeah.
like?
I'm like, oh, sweetheart, it starts way before high school. It starts at like
daycare.
4. Like, you don't know what they do.
It started for me like a year and a half. Like, Sabina's is going to start going to daycare like in a couple of months.
Yeah.
It's like, it's going to start. But it's going to be a relief. I mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, it is super stressful, but I am like 100% confident that there's a place for everybody. Like every school doesn't work for every family, but it's undoubtable that you will find a place that works for you and your family. So you should start like talking to your friends about it. I mean, I don't know how long, your babe is going to be at home or in a, not like school situation, but it's something worth thinking about. If you think you're going to put him in at 16, 18 months, like you don't have a lot of time. Yeah, like we we opened the school last fall. So World City Center, we just opened it last August. It was brand spanking new, and literally within a month and a half we were full.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So we've got like a gnarly waiting list to the point where we're like, we might need a second space because we want to be able to, provide this. Like in our area, really, there's only one other preschool offering what we offer, and it's still different, like depending on the teachers, depending on the philosophy, depending on the site.
Oh yeah, it all starts with like the philosophy that you want to go. There's like so many philosophies out there, and it all depends on like what philosophy do you want. What like the Montessori of the play, or it was just too much for me. I
heard of another one the other day. I forgot the name already. I'll think about it later. But I was like, wizard or wisdom or I don't know. What
not
it was
Waldorf.
Like.
Waldorf.
Waldorf. Yeah. See?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, my kid went to a Waldorf, and I was like, I'm sorry, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, it's sort of this like Montessori, and then there's Waldorf, and I'm like Waldorf Astoria, like the hotel. Like
I want my kid to go there.
Yeah. I was like, what did they? Like I had no idea.
Yeah.
And oh man, it's just so much.
Yeah.
So much.
It is. But don't fret. I mean, the good thing is that like you have friends, you have family. I mean, I think for a lot of people it's like word of mouth. And I got super lucky because I mean, when I moved to this neighborhood, like when I moved to LA, I was living in the Valley previously, and I got very, very lucky that they opened a bilingual school in the Valley right around the corner from where I was at.
Oh, wow.
Because I was raised bilingually, it was like so important for me, for my kids to have that. And I know my mom is going to retire.
But you're more than bilingual.
Well, I speak a few other languages. I never used them. Like I studied French in college, and then I lived in Italy and I learned Italian. But I mean, I don't use anything but Spanish now, here in LA. So
okay, so the bilingual school opened by your house.
Yeah, so I got really lucky with Arya, and then when I moved to LA, like literally the click thing was happening. City language immersion charter. A group of moms in our neighborhood just were like tired of driving their kids to the west side and wanted a bilingual option, and there really wasn't one close by. Like Culver City was the closest one, but that's you have to live within it or you have to petition in. So they decided we're going to do it ourselves. And I was like, whatever that is, I'm on board. I'm there.
And you're talking about mid-city LA.
Yeah, we're mid-city, West Adams area.
Okay. So most of the immersion schools are on the west side?
Well, they're a sprinkle here and there. So Glendale has a few that are really reputable and good. Culver City has a few that are great. There's like one on the west side, and they're sprouting up like crazy now. Like when we were growing up, the bilingual, like there was bilingual education in Los Angeles.
I would say ESL
Well,
kid.
there was ESL, but there was also bilingual education, which was, you know, it wasn't English as a second language. It was like just teaching in Spanish. Like there was actual, like what we are doing now with immersion. I went to, in 4th grade, I went to an immersion school, and my mom was a bilingual educator. She taught kinder, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in Spanish. And then and then
they didn't offer that where we went. They didn't even know it existed.
I think it depends on, you know, the demographic or whatever of the community, but then they did away with it. Like LAUSD squashed the whole thing and did away with bilingual education, and the studies have just, you know, they've shown like a huge decline in the approach that's been taken over the last 10 years. So now it's super interesting that there's this resurgence, right? Because
of charter schools.
Well, of just, I think of our generation. I think our parents' generation, it wasn't as cool to speak Spanish.
Yeah, I think
like
that's
it was
what
more,
it was.
Or they just didn't want us to. Or,
right.
Yeah.
They wanted you to learn English. They wanted you to integrate. They wanted you to, you know. But now we're seeing the value of like setting our kids up for a global playing field, and the value of a second language, and just the access that it gives you to jobs, communicating, travel. And so for us, it's like, we want that, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. And also, like, I think, I don't know, this is this generation, the generation between when we got here and the first generation, you know, that are now grown up and having babies, we don't want to let go of our culture. Yeah. You know, the culture is so important of our identity, who we are. And it's just like, we just want to transmit that to our, at least that's my case. Like, I want to transmit that to my kid, because my identity of where I come from, it's so important for me and our family, you know, like for us, the way we grew up, what we do, who we are, it's so important that I want to transmit that to my daughter. And that's why I always had that in my mind. You know, I want her to learn Spanish. I want her to go to that would be great if she went to a school that, you know, with Spanish. I was even thinking about sending her to Mexico for like a year or something.
Which would be great. Like,
that would be great. My mom would love it.
Yeah.
But then when I learned about the school, I was like, how do I get in there? Like, where are these people? Who do I have to talk to? You know, I was like, who do I talk to? Like, give me a number. Where do I go? And then I met you through Facebook, and then I saw that you're the school, and I was like, I'm there. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know where it is. I don't know this person, but I want my daughter to be there. And I kept calling you and emailing you, and I was like, I want my daughter to go there, and I would go and like.
You bribed her with food and drinks.
Oh my God! I mean, I fell in love with her the first day she walked in the door. I was like, yes, you are my people.
Yeah, and I was pregnant. I remember I was like, both my kids are gonna go here, and
I want to just touch on something really fast. So what percentage of your students are Latino?
You know what? We have a super diverse school. It's super diverse. I don't know percentage wise. I mean, there's like, you know, almost 40 kids. We have a lot of mixed kids too. We have a lot of like one culture, another culture. But I think more than anything, I mean, everybody shares the passion for raising a child with bilingualism. Like, that's the awesome part. I mean, for me, I think it was the same thing. Like, my father is Costa Rican, my mother is American, so I grew up in this like multicultural household, but my mom speaks fluent. I mean, she's like blonde hair, blue eyed, speaks fluent Spanish, you know? Like,
understands with a lot of
just
people.
throws you off. But, you know, I grew up with salsa music in the background. Like, our snacks were, you know, frijoles molidos on some bread with a little bit of mayonesa and a piece of cheese, you know. It's like, and I definitely want to convey that to my kids. And I feel like a lot of the people that come to our preschool, you know, have either a personal affinity for the culture, or, you know, just want to give their kids that bilingualism.
Yeah, because what I've noticed though is that in a lot of immersion schools the percentage of Latino kids are very small.
It's true.
So that was to me when I was like doing a little research, and I was like, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And we do have a couple friends who don't want their kids to learn how to speak Spanish. I mean, we have a lot of friends who are all about like, let's teach our kids Spanish, let's do it, let's immersion school, and like really, really kind of engrave that in their head and learn about their culture. I mean, I know I want that for my kid. But then we do have another set of friends who, I mean, that their English is already choppy, and they speak to their kids in English.
Right.
And I'm like, speak to them in Spanish, man. Like,
Yeah.
They can understand you like they'll understand you. So I don't know if there's kind of like a cultural thing or a gap or a generation thing that we're going through, a transition phase that we're going through.
Yeah, I think it's related back to what we were talking about earlier about like the earlier generation, the last generation, and it not being cool to accept your culture, you know, and or your language. We have that problem definitely for sure at the elementary school, where it's like, you know, it's a public school, it's charter, and you cannot really control, it's lottery, so you can't control who you accept. But for an immersion model to work, you really want to have a 50-50 balance in the classroom. You want to have 50% of the kids proficient in Spanish and 50% maybe not as proficient in Spanish, because they help each other and they peer coach each other. But you know, we have had a lot of resistance trying to attract Spanish speaking families, because they're like, yeah, that's cute, but you know, I need my kid to be proficient in English. And the studies have all shown that kids that are in a bilingual environment literally outperform, like way outperform monolingual students by the 5th grade. But the first, second, and third grade, like the scores are going to be lower, because why? We're in the United States, in California, and they're being tested in English, but they're going to school in Spanish. Yeah. So the thing is with the dual language immersion, it starts 90-10, then it goes 80-20, 70-30, all the way till you get to 50-50. So by the time you hit 50-50, the student has a level of proficiency that's so, you know, incredibly developed that they're outperforming their monolingual peers. But I think it's hard because now we're reconvincing Latino families after spending decades deteriorating the bilingual program and really making, like, you know, a second language second class, you know, like the fact that you speak Spanish doesn't make you like first class citizen. Like, this is the mentality that we're trying to really combat, and the statistics show that it's not true. Like, having to actually, like,
it's better.
You are kicking butt, you know, like you're taking names.
So when you say 90-10, 80-20, like
90% of the time the teacher is speaking Spanish. 10% of the time, and some schools, like some immersion schools, they're really hardcore. They're like, the kid walks in and they don't know that the teacher speaks English. And the English component that they have is actually taught by another teacher. Like, they might have an art class that's taught in English, or like music, you know, something else that's taught in English, but their teacher does not speak any English. Click is not like that. It's a little bit more flexible, because like I said, the balance of the 50-50 is really difficult to achieve without being able to cherry pick the kids.
Exactly.
So the teachers, I think, have had to be a little bit more creative about the implementation. And the other thing is, like, you know, kids are smart, man. You can't lie to them. Like, at a certain point, they're gonna be like, you speak English.
You speak English.
and that's the cool thing. Like, you know, you're talking about, like, you want your son to have his ear developed, like, from a young age. Like, I remember my nephew, his mom didn't speak English, didn't speak Spanish, but then his dad, you know, my brother did. So he would, like, language flip at 1.5, and he would be like translating for his mom and be like, oh, she don't know how to, you know, let me go ahead and let her know what we just said, you know.
Oh, that's so
super
cute.
But yeah,
cool.
it's because at that age they absorb everything so fast. When Kristen went into WCC, she spoke was Spanish and a little Korean. But within 2 months she was speaking English. And I was like, what happened? Like, you know, and just with her little friends, you know, so, like, a lot of people get scared they're gonna lose the English, but it doesn't happen, because everything around us here in the U.S., it's in English. So they will not lose that part. And I think that's why a lot of people get scared that they'll lose the English, or they won't be able to speak it properly. But I don't think that's the case. You know, I don't believe that's the case. If anything, my daughter picked it up so fast, you know, and
you're like, is she going to a bilingual school?
No, but you know, it's I saw that and I was just like, okay, I don't have to worry about that. You know, I don't have to worry about that, because she's fluent both ways, or you know, has her own language, whatever it is. But you know, I like that, and when I go to the school and I speak to all the little kids in Spanish, they respond, and it's the cutest thing ever to see them talk amongst them, right? It's so cute.
And I mean, you bring up a good point, because a lot of people also are skeptical, because it's like, well, your kid's not talking back in Spanish, or like, my kid's been in an immersion program for 2 years and they don't respond in Spanish. And it's like super normal, because like you said, they do live in an English speaking world. So they're going to, like, on the playground, they're going to default to English, but they're getting it. Like, my daughter went to an immersion preschool, then she had a year not in immersion preschool, but then she went back into immersion, and literally, like, understands everything I say to her, because it was really easy. The first 12 months are so easy. So just keep talking to your baby in Spanish, man, because they don't talk.
So that's what I should do.
Back.
Okay.
The first 18 months, I mean, you got to think about it. Their ear and their brains are creating all of the different, like, language patterns. So even though they can't speak back, that's the foundation for their language. So hearing the language even for the first 18 months is phenomenal. Like, there are recent studies that just came out that say that, like, that show the difference even between kids that are exposed to, like, videos or, like, you know, just inanimate objects versus dealing with a person speaking that language. And it's so much more effective if the person is actually speaking to them in real body in that language.
So you mean human interaction is better than computer interaction? Stop.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well,
no way.
Well, I mean, if you don't speak it at home, like, for people, like, you're like, what do I do? You know, I'm gonna stick this tape on and hope that the kid gets it, which they still will, because their ear is still being conditioned. But I found,
so if I play my kid, like, Japanese, like, tapes.
Absolutely. No, for real. Like, the study, I think, was Chinese. They did, like, Chinese and Spanish or something like that. And so basically, like, the foundation for everything that comes out of their mouth is starting with what goes into their ear. So you can, like, it was really easy for me to speak only Spanish to my daughter, you know, up until she started talking. But then, like, when she started talking, it was over. Like, and she would just look at me like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, you know what I'm saying. You know, eat your food. Quítate, you know. Recoge eso. Yeah.
So I need to really start speaking to the baby in Spanish, because it's tough for me.
Yeah.
And that's what I think it is with a lot of my girlfriends too. It's like, I want to, but it's just hard, because, like, most of my everyday language is English. My sister's easier because their house is all Spanish because of her husband. But me and my husband speak English all the time. So I need to really do you have any, like, advice for me? Like, put stuff around the house where it says, like, habla español. Say habla español or something. I mean, I
feel you, because, you know, my child's father does not speak Spanish either. So, you know, a lot of the times it was like, well, daddy doesn't understand it. Daddy doesn't speak Spanish. But now I got her. Like, I was like, she's like, Mom, why do I have to go to school in Spanish? I said, so you and I can talk and Daddy won't understand what we're saying. And she was like, yeah, I like it.
How old is your daughter?
She's going to be 7. And my son is going to be 5.
You're a very good looking son.
So, yeah, but, like, even Eden didn't start immersion until we opened WCC last year. So he's only been 1 year. And honestly, with the second one gets the shaft. Like, that poor guy. Like, with Aria, I totally spoke Spanish for the first 14 months until she entered into, like, an English-speaking Montessori environment. And then, you know, it became more difficult because she was talking at 9 months. So once she really started talking, like, it was hard to get her to speak in Spanish. But even if you just condition the ear, like, Eden has been hearing it, and he's picking up on stuff, and he's starting to, like, even, like, cognitively start to put stuff together. I remember, like, Natalie, one of our teachers, I think she was asking her, how do you say rainforest in Spanish? And he's like, bosque de agua, you know. And I was like, yeah, good job, puppy. You know, not right, but cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Nice.
That's good, yes.
So they get it. And then my daughter, like, last year was the breakthrough year for us. Like, we were in the store, like, clearly I would talk to her in Spanish and she would just look at me and respond in English. And then we were in the store and she was like, ay, qué linda bebé, ¿cómo se llama? And I was like, oh, she's speaking Spanish. Like, she just started talking to this woman who looked like she was Latina, and she just started talking to her in Spanish. And I was like, oh my God, we have arrived. Thank God. It's not for naught. It's only taken us 4 years, but we got here.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard because now with my second one, you're right. I find myself talking in English more often. I'm like, with Krista, I was just like, oh, no, así se dice, ¿cómo estás? Like everything in Spanish, books in Spanish, movies in Spanish, everything in Spanish, music in Spanish, everything was Spanish. And now with Seven, it's like, she'll get it. She'll get it eventually. It's hard to keep up with that.
Yeah. But you asked, like, what could you do? I mean, number one, just try your best to speak in Spanish. Number two, if you are going to put on music, like put on music, read the books in Spanish, like make a conscious effort to constantly be putting it in front of them so that they can just be absorbing as much as possible. And then, you know, my parents, actually, I was very grateful because they did send me to Costa Rica, you know, for the summer, and I was there for 3 months, and I went to school. I went to like the school my dad went to when he was younger, and I like did a whole summer in the 2nd grade, you know, in Costa Rica. And I feel like my language skills are so much better than my siblings because they didn't get that opportunity. Like my mom put me in bilingual school. She sent me to Costa Rica in the summer, and then I just constantly, you know, kept building upon that. But I grew up primarily speaking English, and I can get by pretty well, you know, like I'm not flawless. And unfortunately, I studied other languages that I don't use anymore. But like, you know, grammatically, like there's things that I can improve, but I know I can hold my own, and I'm proficient enough to teach a child the basics. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like if you're in line, someone's talking crap about you in line in Spanish. Oh, you know.
Happens all the time, girl. They do not think I speak Spanish. And I'm like, de verdad, sí. Ay, es que disculpe.
That must be the best.
It's awesome.
But yeah, that's my backup plan. I'm like, if everything fails, I'm just going to ship my kid out to Oaxaca for a year.
Absolutely. Or just even in the summers, you know, like it's so impactful. Like when I learned Italian, I literally like showed up in Italy speaking no Italian, and I stayed there for 6 months. And by the time I came back, I was speaking pretty proficiently and like reading high level stuff in Italian.
Oh.
So like once you have the foundation for one Latin language, you just keep adding more. Just they're very similar. You know what I mean? So as long as they have the foundation for it, I think you're good.
That's a good.
So your daughter goes to an immersion school right now, or no?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so she learns math in Spanish.
Mm-hmm. She learns everything in Spanish.
So that's the only thing, because somebody was telling me that her his wife was a dean for his immersion school, but he's like, it's not like full immersion. He's like. And I'm like, oh, they should do more of those. You know, in my head, I'm like, well, why don't they? It's a great business, like, blah, 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 right? And it's like, Bricia, it's hard finding, like, a good teacher. Mm-hmm. Now, try finding a good teacher that speaks Spanish and is able to teach kids these things in Spanish. Like,
it's true.
That's triple hard. So do these teachers, do they earn more money? Like, is this like a special area? Just maybe out there somewhere.
Listen, sweetheart, nobody goes into education to get money, okay? You do it because you don't have a choice. You're like born with the like love for children or something. I know. I mean, really, I feel like one of the major problems in our education system is the fact that teachers are devalued. Like, they have your most prized possession.
Right?
Like, they should make more than your CPA. They should make more than your lawyer. You know what I mean?
They should.
They don't. And it's really extremely difficult to find good teachers. And I know even I was having a conversation with the principal of my daughter's school, and he was saying that, like, out of, you know, like X amount of people graduating from the UCLA education program, like 7 of them spoke Spanish or something like that. I mean, don't quote me, but that's my recollection.
Something very small.
But it was like a few people. And then you got to think about all the immersion schools vying for these same candidates. Yeah. So it's difficult. Like they need a pipeline. Like we need more people to get on board at the kind of higher education levels too, to advocate for it and make sure that when they're churning out teachers, like they're churning out teachers that are, you know, willing to teach in Spanish too.
Yeah. So how old are kids when they go to preschool? I don't understand that.
Well, it depends. I mean, some people, the truth of the day and age is people got to work, you know? So some kids start at 8 weeks. Our youngest, when we started, was 4 months. But now we have 18 months, about 18 months to 5 years old. Those 18 months to 3 years old is considered like toddlers, and then preschool is 3 to 5.
But can you talk a little bit about the whole pre-K, TK Kike. Because I had no clue about any of that, and I've been slowly learning from other parents, but I'm like, I'm still so confused.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because back in the day, like, you didn't start until kinder. Like, you turn 5, you go to school. Before that, but like I said, so much happens in 0 to 5 that I'm so glad that the times are catching up. So, like I said, we have toddlers, which are like 18 to 3 months. Anything before that is like infant care, daycare, you know? And then 3 to 5 is preschool. TK is a new thing that started last year, I think. No, the year before. The year before, across like LUSD, where now if you're 4.5, going to be 5 between September 1st and December 1st or December 2nd, something like that, you can start TK, which is called transitional kindergarten. And it's like kinder light. You know what I'm saying?
Kinder light.
Yeah. You're still on Big Kids campus. Like, it's still a huge shift from most preschool environments, which are smaller and like a 1-to-7, 1-to-8 ratio. No, now you've got like one teacher, 24 kids. You know, your kid has to walk to the bathroom by themselves.
What?
Yeah, they got with a friend. I mean, with another 4.5-year-old. It's like, I don't know if I trust y'all. And they got her. You know, Aria lost 3 backpacks. Literally the first month of school, like just getting them to remember to like bring their lunch, because you go in, you pick up Krista, you grab her stuff. No, like, you got to keep track of your jackets, you got to keep track of your lunchbox.
Also, you put your day names on their jackets.
Oh God, yes. That's like,
you buy them really cheap clothes.
Of course, the trauma of like the first year is like, don't expect him to come back with anything. Like, I was looking at those really cool bento box lunch boxes, because this is Eden's like first, so he's starting TK. But I was like, I'm not spending $85 on no cool lunchbox. You're gonna lose it, you know. Gonna get me a Tupperware,
a Ziploc.
Right? Exactly.
You're right. Oh my God, that's so scary.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that happened. Like, you lose stuff because
Yes.
They're kids. They're 4.5. Like, what do they know about remembering stuff?
And then there's kinder, which is like, you know it, kinder, you know, 5-year-olds.
I don't remember kinder.
And then it goes. Well, look, we probably didn't even have it. I don't remember if I went to kinder or not.
Kinder. But in Mexico, it starts at 3 years old. 3, 4, 5.
Oh, it does.
Primero, segundo, y tercero de kinder.
Okay.
You know, in Mexico.
Yeah, there's 3. Yeah, you're right. You get first grade kinder, second kinder, second, and then you graduate kinder at third year kinder.
Oh,
almost like elementary, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Rather than like, I'm just like, do I look for a daycare? Do I look for a preschool? Do I look for a TK? Like, what? Yeah. I'm so confused.
TK's later.
Before I know, you'll be going to high school. And I'm like, don't leave me.
You're going to college. You're like, my mom, peace.
Yeah. I didn't even realize when you went to kinder, you went to college.
I know, it's so hard. And then it's, you know, expensive sometimes.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is. And I mean, even looking for stuff, you know, trying to find something that's affordable for a working family, it was really hard. Like, one year, Aria went to Catholic school because it was half the cost of every other preschool that I found. And not that I believe in like traditional learning, like, because they're part of that. I think more of the traditional method is like worksheets and sitting down and like, you know, doing your letters and drilling, which the studies have also shown is not as effective. Like, by 3rd grade, they're burnt out. You know, which is that's why true. Like we've adopted. So then
how do you learn?
They learn.
You know what? That is true. Remember I told you I was trying to teach Krisa to write her name the other day, and I was like, I suck at being a teacher. I give up.
It's okay. You can't teach your child everything. Trust me. I know. I give up.
Wait. So then how do you teach them?
Well, in a play-based environment, it's not that they're not learning. That's I think what people don't understand. It's like they're playing, but they're learning while they're playing. So like, you know, maybe Krista's doing the letter matching game and she's trying to find the letters of her name. Yeah. And so she's finding the K, she's finding the R, you know, and she's creating her name, but we're not like, sit down, write your name 15 times, you know. She's like, I'm free, leave me alone. You know.
No, but see, that's the thing that I'm used to. You know, I was used to because we were brought up in a traditional environment like that. So I was like, should I le empiezo a dar planas, you know? Like, make 1,000 circles, make 1,000 palitos, you know, like, because that's the way we were. So I'm like, am I not, you know, not that I don't feel like she's learning, but I'm like, I should be teaching her something. I always feel like I'm not teaching her, like me, myself, personally, like I'm not teaching her something. So I'm like, what should I teach her today? let me teach her to write her name. And then she was like, she would start, and then she would like get bored and be like, and I was like, no, that's not the way you do it.
Well, I
And
guess the
gave up.
best thing you could do is speak to her in Spanish, right?
Yeah.
And because that way she's learning.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much
You're
for coming. This is so much fun.
You're welcome.
I mean, I have anxiety,
I'm sorry. No,
but
if it's any like seriously, you know exactly what you're doing. Nobody
I'm
else
about
can
to
tell
call my
you.
husband and be like, honey, we need to go to that Glendale school and find it. Okay, well, we're going to come back with our pick or tip of the week. Okay, we're back.
We're back.
We're
and
back. We
my
took a
sister's
long break.
little bit overwhelmed.
I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Where's my kid gonna go to college?
He's 4 months. Slow down, honey. Slow down.
Okay, let's just take it one step at a time. What's our pick or tip of the week?
Okay, I'll start because you look a little bit
I
overwhelmed.
know, I'm so stressed out.
Have a little sip of your michelada.
I know. I'm the one who's almost finished with this. Oh no, you're winning over there. Come on.
I gotta catch up.
Come on, Rebecca.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a little tip of like how I kept my daughter bilingual before she went to WCC. What I did was, because kids at that age, sometimes you can't help when the kids watch TV, because I know a lot of people are judgy about TV, but the people
No one
that
judges
do,
here. If someone judges you here, turn off the radio.
No judgment.
well, my kid watched TV, and I would actually put YouTube and like Google whatever she wanted to watch in Spanish. Pocoyo. I think I love Pocoyo because she learned a lot of things in Pocoyo. And, Pocoyo, like a bunch of cartoons that she would like. Or like even Sesame Street. Sesame Street, they have it in Mexico. So I would Google things like that in Spanish and I would put them for her. And I think she learned a lot of words from there.
Oh, nice.
And also, I, until today,
What about a novela? Can I put a novela? for
whatever
me?
it is, in Spanish.
Maria
and-
Mercedes.
and I also created a playlist of songs in Spanish. So, like, let's say even like the Frozen Let It Go, we have it in Spanish. So she knows it in Spanish. She also knows it in English, but she knows it in Spanish.
Or
like
Cri Cri.
everything. Like right now, I actually just uploaded the whole soundtrack of Inside Out in Spanish.
Nice.
So everything in Spanish. So then she knows the difference, and she goes, "Ahora en español, ahora en Spanish," and I'm like, "English." She thinks Spanish is English and español is Spanish.
That's hilarious.
So that's my tip of the week, ladies.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Paulina. Nice tip.
It's a great tip.
Rebecca?
So I guess my tip would be to, when you are researching schools and you find some place that you really love, like really make an effort to let them know that you're serious, that you want to be on the waiting list. Like the good ones are going to have waiting lists, and you're going to want to get in there early, but you're also going to want to make sure that you let them know that you do want to be a part of their community. So show up at their events if they have public events where they invite, the community to participate. And then just stay in touch. Like every 3 months, ping them. Hey, still hold my kids on the waiting list. We're really interested. Like we can't wait to be a part of the family.
Here I am.
Call us. Call me.
Don't
Call
forget
me.
about me.
Call
I
me.
love you. Bye.
Or randomly show up. Like
Just show
I did.
up. I mean, Paulina, I think she showed up twice. Like we were under construction. Like I was like, I'm sorry, I don't have a hard hat and you're pregnant, but come in.
And I was like, I'm here. Don't
And I
forget
was like,
about
okay,
me.
she's serious, man. She's serious.
She's
But-
out here pregnant.
I mean, we have a waiting list, and like we go in order. But like the ones that we know are really serious, like because people drop off, they make other arrangements. They decide to put their kids somewhere else. They don't want to pull them. But there are people that will do what they need to do in the meantime. But they really want to be at your school, and I
Yeah.
think it's really important that you stay in communication with wherever is your top 1 or 2 places, and just let them know, like, we still want to be with you. Let us know when you have a space.
Holla
So,
at the girl.
So how do you okay, what do you recommend? Like, do I email first, visit first, call first? Like, how would you recommend I approach like a school that I am interested in?
I mean, I can only speak for us. Like I know people have different ways of dealing with it, but number 1, I would say visit the website, read what they're about, see if it's a good fit for what you're looking for. Geographically, is it going to work for you to drop your kid off there every day? Once you're like, okay, this could be an option, go see it. We recommend that you go on our website, you fill out like the contract interest form, you say, look, I want to come tour. We have regular scheduled tours. We start back up in the fall, first Wednesday of every month. It's like a couple of hours. Some schools are random and are like, you can't bring your kids, and I'm like, why? We don't believe in that. Like, bring your kid, like, see if your kid likes it too, because they're gonna be with us. So and we're a kid-friendly environment. And then tour. If it really feels great, then we give you an interest form. You fill out the interest form, and then that's how you get on our waiting list. We know, how old your kid is, when they're going to be a certain age, what you're looking for as far as schedule, because all of that is important in terms of being able to allocate a space. Do you want full-time, part-time? And you got to ask all of those questions when you tour. Like, we have an FAQ packet that we basically give parents when they come to tour that have all those information. What time can you drop off? What time can you pick up? I mean, for working parents, all of that is like super important. Yeah. As to whether it's going to work for you or not.
Lunch.
Do they include lunch? Yeah. Are you going to force my kid to sleep? My kid never hasn't slept since she was born. That's my kid.
Wait, how do you put those kids to sleep?
It's amazing. I don't
Can you give us that tip?
Listen, honey, it's magical. I don't even know, honestly. Like, so my kid, who will never take a nap on the weekend, I remember my business partner, Brittany, she had a home daycare, and I walked in, and Eden like walked by me, was like, hey, mommy, laid himself down and went to sleep within 3 minutes. And I was like, word? Like, I'm such a loser. So I can't put my own kid to bed on a Saturday, but he's going to walk by me and put himself to sleep? You know what? I'm done. I'm through. I give up. And that's you, kid. Yes. I mean, I think it's peer pressure. Like, they just know, like, kids want to know the boundaries. They want to know the box to sit in. So you're like, okay, look, you're going to lay down. You're going to chill out. I don't care if you sleep or not, but don't get up. And they're like, okay. And eventually, once everybody else is snoring, they're snoring too.
Wow.
Krista reads to herself and puts herself to sleep next to the books. And I was like, why don't you do that at home? Ever. Never. Ugh. And they're literally all snoring. They snore.
They do.
I wish we could do that right now. Like, okay, good guys, I'm gonna go take a nap. I'll be right back.
Yeah. You want a peaceful place to like bring out your laptop and have a cup of tea? Come between like 1 and 3. Everybody's sleeping.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Your tip?
I am so overwhelmed right now. I think I'm gonna after this, I'm gonna have another michelada, and I'm gonna call my husband and have like a conversation about preschool. I guess my tip would just be to call your husband right now, if you have a 4-month-old, and have a conversation about preschool, and start researching. I think that's what I'm gonna start doing. I don't have a pick or a tip, you guys. I'm so sorry. I'm just really, really overwhelmed.
It's natural.
Yeah. Go look for a preschool or a daycare or a kindergarten or get in a wait list for a high school.
Start the college application process now while you're at it.
No, wait. This is completely like not about education, but talking about that, and I don't know if it's going to make any sense, but my husband's friend's kid was teaching me how to play Minecraft. And I was like, wait. So I can build my own world? I was like, wait, okay. I was like, I have to learn so I can build my world. So when my baby is able to play Minecraft, he already has a world built for himself. Oh, and all the kids can come want to play in his world.
I love it. You're doing better than I am.
That's exactly what I thought. I am more prepared for Minecraft than I am for preschool, you guys.
You're ahead of the curve. You're ahead of the curve, honey.
Oh God.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in again this week.
It was a really
interesting conversation. Thank you so much. It's so important to know these things because you don't think about them, especially first-time mommies like me. I don't know, so thank you for the heads up. Everybody, please, this guest was here not only because she's my sister's friend, but only because you guys requested to have something like this. So I'm just so happy that we know somebody who's a professional in the field to come in, and thank you. So everybody, please keep bringing in your suggestions, your questions. Follow us on Instagram. No complaints. Follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, visit our website, call our hotline. Leave us a message. We get so many emails, and they're so great to listen to all of it, to read them all.
But call us up. Put a voice behind the pictures and the likes. We want to hear from you, and call us up and follow us on Instagram.
Our Instagram is @
Super Mamás.
And our Facebook,
Super Mamás Podcast.
And our website,
www.supermamaspodcast.com.
And our hotline is 424-326-3707. 424-326-3707.
Call me up, girl.
Call us up, and then we'll play your message at the end of the show.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you, Rebecca, so much.
Thank you
for your
having
time.
me.
And,
so fun.
We probably should have her again,
Rebecca, and please send us your information. Where can people find you? Where can you get on the wait list?
You can get on our wait list when your kid is still in the belly. WCC-LA.com. You can check us out on Instagram at World City Center, and on Facebook /World City Center.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Welcome.
All right, guys.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck.
Buena suerte.
Go and sign up for high school.
And speak to your kids
in Spanish. Super Mamás.
Super Mamás. Thank you, guys.
Super Mamás.